Crypto's market cap crashed by $500 billion in a single day.
About $1.7 billion in positions liquidated over the past 24 hours.
This was actually the largest liquidation, guys, in the history of crypto.
One of the darkest hours crypto ever lived through. But we all know what followed crashes like this. The COVID crash offered opportunities to buy sound coins for pennies. Hundreds of millionaires were born out the 2018 to 2019 bear market. Every time the game resets, it's time to pay attention. All right, Jack, so let's directly start with the question, why did the market dump at all?
Yeah. So the market, everyone is talking about Trump, how he did this, he did that. But what people need to understand that Trump was only the trigger, right? If he had tweeted this in another time, maybe the consequences would not have been as big, right? But the thing was that the market, especially altcoins, were heavily over leveraged. You could see this in data. We're analyzing open interest of altcoins every day. And the last weeks, I was just being super clear that there's so much leverage in the system, especially for altcoins. It was higher than that of ETH and of Bitcoin. And basically what happened is that Trump said that they're going to impose some tariffs on China, 100%, starting in about 2 to 3 weeks. And obviously, anyone who has a little bit of pattern recognition knows what happened in spring of 2025, where we crashed from like 110, a little bit above, to like 100 to 74,000. Sorry. And it was obviously a big decline, and everyone was like panicking again. Oh my God, it's going to happen again. Even though I do not think the chances are very high that they will actually follow through with 100% tariff, even the slightest chance of that, being a potential, causes people to sell their bags, sell their crypto. And it is actually pretty normal, right? Because it's just risk management.
Yeah.
But what happens when the market is pretty elevated and leverage is pretty high, or in general, when markets pump, imagine you're holding Bitcoin and altcoins, right? And you're seeing there's a risk. What are you going to sell first? Obviously, you're going to sell your altcoins first, right? So what happens is that altcoins had a massive sell-off, right? BTC as well, there were some liquidation levels at around 108, 107,000, which we have been watching for a long time as well. And also volatility was very compressed. And I hate to be that guy, but we also watched it and said that a big move was coming.
It was something that we have been talking about for months, actually. It wasn't something that was happening in the last 2 days or so. It was obvious to so many, also to people I'm talking to in private. Everyone was like, I don't like this market right now. I see altcoins going up, and I know that I'm missing out on some gains by not being positioned.
Yeah.
But it's when you see those risks in the market, you are happy to neglect some profits in order to secure yourself against those massive dumps that are normal in crypto. And everyone believes, just because we have some ETFs right now, that we will not see those dumps anymore. But this is just stupid. It will continue to happen because crypto is such an emotional market and everyone is so greedy. I think you reposted this meme of what are those guys doing on the other side? You remember this cat which is looking on the other side?
Yeah.
I love this meme because you're like, what the hell? Why do you open so many longs at those levels with no fundamental backing right now?
Yeah.
So just a big liquidation cascade.
Yeah, just to finish it off, basically you had BTC, and it sold off, and then Bitcoin had huge liquidation levels, and they got hit. So what happens is, when you have a lot of people longing the market, this is how it's called when you open a futures position, right? You have a liquidation level most of the time, right? And what happens is that a lot of people got liquidated or were about to get liquidated at the 108, 107 level. And we just blasted through this. And because Bitcoin went down, altcoins started to go down as well and started, liquidating everyone and all the leverage that was in there. So what happens when a leverage position gets closed, right? Imagine I'm long Bitcoin and imagine I have a 5x, right? It means that I think a 20% move can wipe you out, right? I'm not entirely sure because I don't ever use leverage, but I think that's a math, 10 or 20%, whatever. So imagine BTC goes down 20%. It means that the 1 million position that I had is forced to be sold on the market price, right? That means that I sell 1 million worth of BTC. And imagine this times a million. 1.6 million traders got liquidated yesterday. Didn't lose money, they got liquidated. They were forced to close their positions. So this happened, and then it transferred to altcoins. And because altcoins and the whole crypto space is so intertwined, right? You have a coin, and then someone takes collateral against it, and with some stable coin, and this stable coin is tied to another coin, and the coin is tied to Ethereum. And if Ethereum goes down 10-15% in a day, then everything is just kind of mixed together. And if one domino falls, all the other falls as well. And this is kind of what we have witnessed yesterday, and we had over $20 billion liquidated from the market, the highest ever day ever monitored.
It's actually insane when you think about it. Like, we have been in crypto for a long time and we haven't seen something like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. All right, so I think we pretty much covered what caused this huge sell-off. It wasn't like, I saw a lot of people speculating that there were some big players who got wiped out. Like, it's not clear yet, but I would say, like, from what I have seen, it's not very likely, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, some big traders maybe got, a lot of hyper liquid got liquidated. Yeah. And also there was some very shady stuff happening because before the Trump announcement, some big whales started selling huge amounts and actively shorting the market. And also the Trump project, World Liberty Finance, was the first one to collapse. So they sold first. Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty obvious that the projects from Trump sold off first.
Maybe it's just a coincidence.
Maybe it's just a coincidence. Yeah, we don't want to speculate on it. We don't know. Okay, so we established what happened. Let's dive into why people lost money. Because I think, like, we have been in those situations before. And right now it's very important to analyze what caused you to lose money. Because if you don't analyze it now, you are very likely to be in that position later again, because the crypto market is not going to change drastically over the next 5 years. So there is a very high chance that we will see a similar event in the future again.
It is guaranteed.
Yeah. So let's talk about what made people lose money. Like, we analyzed it before, and I think there are two major things. One is just holding altcoins way too long. Like, I talk to so many people, and every time I hear the same response, if they are in a position which is already underwater, they just hold altcoins. Maybe you are part of this group as well, and hope that they reach a certain price target at a later stage of the bull market. But we talked about it before. This leads them to face errors in their risk management, and also to the upside. But I think the upside is not that important right now. It's more the downside.
Yeah.
So people, I think you can take over here, because it's your favorite topic.
I don't know. But actually, it's just the mindset of people in general. They come with this mindset that you go into crypto, you're new, right? And the classic thing is, all right, I do fundamental analysis, and I watch some YouTube videos and whatever, and then I build my portfolio, and I leave it like this until the end of the bull market, right? This is what 90% of people do. They come in, they're like, okay, I know that I should be holding 40% in BTC. I know that 60-70% of their portfolio is often BTC, ETH, and Solana.
Yeah.
And then 40%, or maybe it goes up to 70% of their portfolio is just altcoins, right? And how did they find it? They went online, they did some fundamental analysis, they asked ChatGPT, they did a little bit of research, and they bought these coins thinking that they could sell them at higher prices in the future, right? And what they didn't understand is that altcoins, they can also go down from the moment you buy it, right? And not only altcoins, but Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol as well. So it's this notion of buying a certain portfolio and then holding it for the long term that is destroying so many portfolios. And yesterday as well, like it broke my heart, but I saw so many people also that were talking to us before and they didn't listen to us and they were holding like so many shit coins. And the classic portfolio, when everyone comes in, is just like a little bit of BTC, a little bit of ETH, and a bunch of shit coins. And they all got wrecked, right? So should we come to the solution or?
Yeah, I think it's just like, to summarize the point, just holding altcoins way too long. Like most people approach altcoins the wrong way. And they are short-term holds, and there are only certain periods where you can hold altcoins. And if you are if you are holding altcoins outside of those periods, you are just setting yourself up for failure. So this is, I think, the major mistake, and the solution is pretty much straightforward. Having a system that tells you when to hold altcoins and when to be safe or stay safe, even if your emotions tell you otherwise. So I also talked to so many people who said, okay, yeah, I just want to get like a bit more profits, or I entered because the market is going up now. Like we have been there's a group that we are in. We won't name it, but we have been risk off for 3 weeks,
Maybe, yeah.
Pretty much 3 weeks, and we got hate because we said, okay, we don't hold altcoins, we don't hold anything right now. We went into BTC. This is like the only position that we have opened, and we got hate for it because, yeah, your system is telling you not to buy or not to risk on, and the whole market goes up. And now, who's laughing?
Yeah, not them.
Not them. So you have to have a system that tells you when it's the right time to enter altcoins and when it's time to stay secure. And yeah,
and also I think a lot of the psychology is because I talked to someone who joined our program not too long ago, and she actually sold all of her coins yesterday morning. So I don't know when this is going to get posted, but yesterday evening is when the big crash happened. And she told me it was very painful for her to sell all her coins. And the notion, and that's the loss aversion bias, it hurts your ego and it hurts your intellect and pretty much everything to actually close a position when you lost, right? Because you're like, damn, I made a mistake, I lost money, this feels bad, etc. But the thing is, you need to learn how to sell when you have incurred losses, right? I do it all the time. I take some small losses, a lot of them, right? I'm not scared to admit that. If the system goes long, off, on and off in choppy phases, I go down 3%, 4%, 5%, right? And then we catch the huge moves where we make like thousands of percents and outperform everyone and everything. But this is one of the mindset that kills everyone, is this: I want to wait until break even to sell my coins. And I'm like, man, please don't do this. Yeah. And this girl, I'm so thankful because she's a great lady. I like her a lot. And she managed to sell the position. She told me, Jacques, like I sold at a loss, but I'm so relieved now that I saw all the price. Maybe it was a little bit of luck as well, but damn, like this is also one thing that holds everyone back, is you are holding altcoin positions and you don't want to sell them because they're at a loss. And then we have another one, which didn't join us, but I think she talked with us. And I talked with her, she had some leverage longs open. And I was like, look, even if they're at a loss, our signals are red at the moment. So if I were you, I would just close them, right? And she didn't listen. She was like, yeah, I just want to wait a little bit. I was like, all right, at least put a stop loss, right? And and then she kind of got a little bit wiped out. Yeah. So yeah, it's sad, but
you can't tell everyone. You can tell them what the right thing to do is, and either they listen or they don't. And regarding the first person you've been talking about, like I on the investment call on Wednesday, I actually had a conversation with her and was telling her, like, your skill set right now is not allowing you to invest in altcoins. And I think this is another important point that people ignore. Altcoins in bullish phases look like easy money, so everyone jumps onto them, even if under the hood they are wolves, right? They are sheep wolves hidden in sheep clothing. So they think altcoins are an easy way to make money. So they invest into altcoins even if their current knowledge level is not allowing them to invest into altcoins, which then leads them to facing losses and then not knowing how to handle them. And this then leads to more losses and in the end also to like complete wipeouts. So I think like I remember this conversation because I had it with her. Like in the beginning, I was like totally honest with her. I was like, you are not allowed to invest in altcoins right now. It's maybe Bitcoin. But everything else, like, because she was like, I think she started with crypto 3 months ago.
Yeah. She's new, very new.
So,
and she only held altcoins.
She only held altcoins. Like, no, there's no. Yeah. So this is also, I think, one of the major things that led people to lose money, just like their overconfidence in their own skills.
Yeah. Bless her that she listened. But yeah, I wanted to say something, but I forgot. What were you saying again?
Overconfidence of their offer,
other skills.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, no matter.
Yeah, okay. And I think the next like biggest point that led people to lose money is just leverage.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was a leverage flush out, so it's pretty straightforward. Like when you open leverage, especially if you are still in your early stages, and usually people who open leverage positions are either extreme experts and know what they're doing.
All right, sorry. I just remembered what can I just quickly
shoot. It's all right.
Yeah, so sorry. What I wanted to say is that even though a lot of people have recency bias as well. What is recency bias is you look at the most recent events and you place an increased emphasis on that, right? For example, if there's a bear market and everything goes down, you tend to be like super negative, right? Even though objectively it's a good time to buy. So a lot of people will have that in the future and probably have it right now, and they will have some sort of PTSD with altcoins. But the secret in buying altcoins is just to understand, with the help of simple frameworks, when the periods are good to buy altcoins and when there's bad periods to hold altcoins, right? And everyone now is going to hate on altcoins. Everyone lost their money. Everyone got liquidated. Since 3 years, altcoins have been going down. Guess what? There will be phases again where for 6 months to 1 year, you can hold any dog shit coin in the world and it can make you a millionaire, right? These times will come back. But the thing is, you need to be able to identify the altcoin seasons, right? Is it the season to hold altcoin, or is it not the season to hold altcoin, right? And this is pretty much what we've been talking about with our clients, and that the skill set is not there. You need to learn that. It's actually not super complicated. You need a little bit of work, but yeah. Anyway,
it's possible to do even for
it's very possible.
You just need the right guidance.
Yeah,
and that's it.
A lot of people have managed to do this.
So. All right.
So back to leverage.
Yeah, we have been talking about leverage. I think it's like, as I said, like you have either extreme like experts using leverage for whatever strategy they're currently using, but even then got liquidated. Yeah. I mean, like I think let's hope not that any market maker got like liquidated, but I think like even the big guys sometimes get greedy. And especially if you play with huge numbers in an area like crypto.
Someone lost 60 million yesterday.
I think not just one.
It's not a small trader.
Yeah.
If you have 60 million on a hyperliquid, obviously you're a big guy.
Yeah. So I think he was not the only one who lost that type of money. So even if you're an expert, you just improve your chances of failure by using leverage. And if 2 leverage trades can wipe out your whole portfolio, you're doing something wrong. Like we have been talking about risk management, right? So it's basically like you use leverage, and it's like going into the casino and going all in every single time. Yes, your chances of making hitting like a huge payout are there, but the chances of you losing everything on 1 or 2 trades is also there, and it's way higher than the making money side. Yeah. So you're taking a negative RI trade.
Man, imagine you spent a decade building a $60 million portfolio, and then you lose 1 trade, 15 minutes.
On 1 trade, all gone. I can't understand that, man. I really don't understand it.
I mean, I actually do, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
there's like two kind of people that want to trade leverage. First of all, it's people that don't have a lot of money, right? So they have like, I don't know, $2,000 or something, and they're like, okay, I need to make 10,000. I need to make 20,000, whatever, 50,000, whatever the number is. Yeah. So because they don't have a lot of money, what do? They start using leverage because they're greedy. They do not have, and I understand, I was there as well, but this is why people do it, because they don't have a lot of money and they want to make a lot of money fast. And then the second is actually smart people that just, frankly, they don't want to admit it to themselves. And once again, how do I know this? Because I was there myself. They have a gambling problem, right? I had a problem like this too, right? Where I just wanted to feel the rush, right? I was like, just trading on leverage, and here and there I felt like, come on, let me do a safe 2x, let me do a safe 3x, right? Maybe sometimes a 5x, right? And what happened, I lost, obviously I made a lot of money with it, but I lost a lot of it. And the net result of that was like maybe a slight gain, but after one big loss, I just really looked inside and I was like, why am I doing this? First of all, I'm greedy, right? Because I want to make more money with the money that I have. And I believe that my money is not enough, even though I had subjectively seen pretty big amounts. And second of all, I think it was just the urge inside of me that I needed this dopamine. Yeah. I think it's just this dopamine. Yeah. So you have, on one side, you have like broke people that want to make a lot of money. And then on the other hand, you have like intelligent gamblers, right? Who just, and probably most fall into this category. They're pretty smart, they're good, but they have this, they cannot control, they don't have self-discipline, and they cannot control their brain. And it's just dangerous. And yeah, a lot of people are getting wrecked with that. And I could talk a lot about leverage. There's also the fact that, you're putting a leverage on your emotions.
This is something I want to talk about, because like everyone is always talking about how can I control my emotions, right? And then you use leverage. And then you use leverage. Like, what the hell? Like, what are you thinking?
And your emotions control you with leverage.
It's like you try to have this like a straight line of emotions. You don't want to feel like super happy when you make wins, and you don't want to feel super bad when you feel like when you make losses. So you try to get to this like straight line of emotions. And then people just say, okay, yeah, let's use leverage. And then the line becomes like this.
It's like if you tell me I don't want to get drunk, but then you drink a whole bottle of vodka by yourself.
Exactly. Like I can't get without eating anything. I mean, I understand why people use leverage, but
I just told you why.
Yeah. So I think the gambling problem is actually, and I think also smart people don't think they can get wrecked. Yeah. So this is also, I think, one of the biggest, like I also held into this category, right? I was like, yeah, I have a good track record. I know what's going up and I know what's going down. So I used a little bit of leverage here, a little bit of leverage there. And then out of nowhere, I saw those huge losses and I was like, yeah, maybe I should stay away from this. Okay.
Solutions.
Let's talk about solutions.
So I confess that I really started making money the day I stopped using leverage, right? There's no like you can use it sometimes here. I'll just do 1x. I'll just use it for shorting. I'll just use it to hedge my positions. No. You make a pact with yourself. I remember these days so good. I lost money. I don't know which coin it was, but I just remembered I was like, I'm just done with leverage trading. Fuck that, right? I'm just done with it. And I promised to myself, and you just have to be disciplined, right? You just need to be true to yourself and tell yourself, hey, you look in the mirror and you tell the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror, you say your name, promise that I will never, ever in my life touch leverage again. And you know what happens? Magically, you become more calm. You become more detailed. You become smarter while making decisions. Why? Because you have less emotions involved, right? And you start thinking in the long term. Why? Because the greed is not there anymore. Because your 10K, it forces you to become patient, right? Because your 10K, you cannot put this little lever and make it 20, 30, 40, 50, right? So it forces you to think long term. It forces you to have some good risk management. And it just forces you to be smart and to control your dopamine overall. So there's really no way around it. You need to make a pact with yourself and never ever break it. Me sometimes as well. I'm human. I'm like, oh damn man, I could use leverage so much. And then I just stick to my rule. And guess what magically happened after that? The universe rewarded me. And because you actually start trading and investing better when you have this mindset shift from greed to slow, continuous, systematic thinking over the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the most obvious secrets, but no one is following it.
It's
like, so I think like this control over your own emotions to not use leverage is already like the thing that most people are not able to control.
Yeah.
This self-discipline to stick to your roots and stick to your frameworks that you have built through your own like experiences and not doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think this is already like where most people struggle with.
But why?
Why? That's a good question.
The thing is, it's like with normal addictions, right? Like, why do you smoke? Why do you drink coffee? Why do you smoke weed? Whatever.
I think the further you get into the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So basically, it's just like how, like for me as well, you know, I used to drink a lot of coffee and, you know, smoke a little bit as well. And it's just your brain literally controls your hands, right? So your brain, I can tell my brain, pick up this phone. I can tell my brain, open this cigarette pack, take a cigarette out, light it on fire, and like, you know, just inhale, right? It's literally your brain. And you can command it to stop it as well. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, the first 3 days are crazy bad. You will probably crave food and dopamine, right? Why, when you stop smoking, why are you so hungry, right? Is it because you burn more calories? No, it's because your brain wants more dopamine. And how can you get cheap dopamine? With food. And this is why you get hungry when you stop using any substance, right? And maybe you'll get hungry if you stop leverage.
Most people get fat now. Okay, so I think we established no leverage. We established why people still fall into their old bad habits of using leverage. What else? We said we quickly covered systems and frameworks. Like, they are so important. Like, times right now just show you how important it is to have frameworks, to have set like walkthroughs, like the Platinum update that Jug is doing every single day. So you become aware of risks and position yourself accordingly. It's not just like the becoming aware part is important, but also to take action on it is also important. And this is also something that I see a lot of people do wrong, is like when they know that they are off track, when they know they should do something different, but not act based on it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is also something that you need to install into your brain, that you follow the plan. And if you get, like, it's okay to get off the plan for a second and just because your brain again was telling you, okay, use leverage, and you started to use leverage again. Once you start realizing that you've made this mistake, it's so important to get back on track as soon as possible. This should be your main priority. Nothing else matters. Even if you lose money through it. It's like this is also something that I asked the woman on the investment call on Wednesday. How much harder do you think it will be in a couple of weeks? I didn't know that it will happen on the weekend, to be honest. How much harder will it be to get back on track when you face even more losses? And she was like, my positions can go down further. And I was like, yes, they get question, bro. And the longer you are off track, the harder it becomes to get back on track. Yep. It's like with the gym. Yep. Like if you don't train for 2 days or 3 days, it's okay because you maybe felt like sick or whatever. But if you start training on Monday again, it's easy to go back into the flow of training every single day. But if you pause for 3 months, it's so hard to get back into that rhythm of going to the gym every fucking single day. And it's like with everything else in life. Just understand that as soon as you come off track, get back on track as soon as possible.
And how do you do that? It's not by starting, working more. It is always by identifying your vices and then cutting them out ruthlessly. All right. So if I'm productive, the whole time. And then I start, it's summer, I start drinking, I start being on my phone the whole time. I start, I don't know, gambling, whatever, or eating bad. What do? Clean reset. I go on my phone, I open Opal, which doesn't enable me to, use my phone at certain times. Then I go back to eating clean. I stop doing all the bad stuff. And then magically, what happens? You become productive again.
And you changed your environment.
Yeah. So that is what most people should focus on. When they're doing bad, it's not that you should be doing something good. It is you should remove the bad things, which you were doing. And that's a big difference.
And this is also something that you can do right now. Every single YouTube channel that made you overly confident in whatever decision you have made that led to you losing money right now, unfollow them, unsubscribe them. Get rid of all the bad and negative things around you that led to you being in the position that you're in right now. And this makes it just easier, like you said, to get back into this like flow, into this state where you are doing the right things, even if they are not the most fun things. So
you'll feel better at least.
Yeah. Okay, what else? I think those are, again, mostly everything. So get back on track. Don't use leverage. For God's sake, we have been talking about this for, I think, since episode 1. And what else? Can you think of anything else?
Thinking of what?
Any other solution, everything.
To what?
To their problems.
You just need a risk management system. You just need to know when do I get out of a position? When do I cut my losses? Because the downside risk, right? How can I say this? The amount of money you lose needs to be limited, and you need rules for how much money you can lose. How much money am I allowed to lose, right? You need a strict rule for that. And if you don't have it, you will never perform very well without being extremely lucky. And even then, even if you're lucky, you'll probably lose it all again. So every great investor in the world has it. Everyone I know has it. So that should be your number one priority. It's not when do I exit a position, when do I take profit, but it's like, where do I get out of it, right? Where do I get out if price goes down, not up?
Yeah. And I think like every big investor, and this is also another thing, like every big investor that I've took anything from, all of them have those stories where they have failed miserably.
Yeah.
So Ray Dalio has it. I don't know if Warren Buffett also has it.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah, pretty sure he has.
No one goes without losing.
So everyone had those times where they have lost money, like a bunch of money. And the difference between them and all the investors that no one talks about today is then they took those lessons and changed their approach and used it to become better. So I think
it's a blessing. It's a blessing, right? You can learn from your mistakes. Be happy that life taught you a lesson and you can become better, right? But do not blame it. Like I'm seeing so many people blaming it on manipulation and obviously, right? Markets are manipulated. Obviously, there's shady shit going on.
Yeah.
Do you think that the market is only manipulated on Friday evening? Do you think that the people controlling the market are like, oh, today we're going to manipulate the market, but all other days we won't manipulate? It's always manipulated, right? So people who are blaming it on exterior stuff, blaming it on Trump, blaming it on, I don't know, some whales, right? It's not their fault. It's probably your fault, right? And I know it's hard to say, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but I'm saying this to help you, right? Because if you look inside and you blame everything on yourself, eventually you will learn from your mistakes, right? Because you can only learn from your mistake if you blame it on yourself. If you blame it on someone else, it's their fault, right? And you cannot become better. But imagine you have two versions of yourself. One always blames someone else, and the other one always blames himself, and then gets better based on the mistakes they're made. After 5 years, who's clearly better?
Yeah. It's like when you are a boxer, right? Like if the best boxers don't whine about that the other boxer hit him too hard. So it's a game.
Or like he was injured, or my elbow.
Yeah,
you lost, bro.
It's part of the game.
It is what it is.
Now get up and go back to training. That's the reality.